Good morning. I welcome you to our series. We have been considering the theme, the path to health. This one is going to be part 5 of 6. And today we are going to talk about arthritis. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for the gift of this precious morning, and even for allowing us to study your word as your children. We pray for cleansing, that the blood of your Son may cleanse us from all filthiness of the flesh, and even from all sin, that we may be renewed in power and also in strength. As we seek to share from your holy writ, may your presence be felt in our hearts, even as you draw us by cords of love, is my prayer in Jesus' holy name. Amen. So, beloved, welcome to our today's study. We are going to look at arthritis. And in this our series, we've been looking at various diseases. And this one is the second last disease that we are going to look at. There are several diseases that we can be sharing, but God deemed it fit that we look at asthma. We've been looking at ulcers and hypertension, and today we are also going to share briefly on arthritis. I'll not be giving the whole study here, or rather everything to be touched on arthritis, but I'm only going to share with us some various types of arthritis and what we need to know about these types of arthritis and how we can prevent this disease. So the question that we are asked is that do your joints say ouch? Whatever be the case, how you pronounce it may differ, but have you encountered such an experience? Arthritis has been a lifestyle disease that has brought problem to the world. And when we are talking about arthritis, then it is a joint problem. And each and every person should be acquainted with the structure of the body and even the function of different systems involved in the body system. To mean each and every person must be acquainted with anatomy and physiology of the body. So that when you're talking about joint problems and the problems that are associated with our joints, then we understand where the joints are, the sockets are, that we be not ignorant concerning these things. So we are told in the United States, 33% of adults are suffering from arthritis. They have joint complications, joint problems, and that is close to 70 million. To mean this is a disease that has affected many people in the world. So what do we mean by arthritis? What is arthritis? We are going to define it simply as the inflammation of a joint. So let me bring to us the picture of how the joint looks like. So the inflammation of a joint is what we call arthritis. And when we touch on joints, joints allow us to move. And if it is affected, then we'll have difficulty in moving from one place to the other. We understand this from a basic knowledge in vehicles. Vehicles also move, but in order for them to move, they don't have joints. But they require grease for friction. And without this grease, then the vehicle will have a difficulty when it is moving. You will hear some complications in it. The same applies to the human body, and for one to move, then the joints must also be lubricated. Now, this is a picture of a joint, and in a joint we can see we have a cartilage. We also have a synovial membrane. A clear picture is here. This one shows a normal joint and an arthritic joint. So there are some signs that we can also notice to clearly indicate to us that we have arthritis, especially in the joints. So what are some of the signs to show us that there is a damage in the joints? The first picture here is giving us a joint that is free from any complication, any damage, and then that we are in a position to see the tendon, the cartilage, the joint capsule, and between the upper and the lower bone that are coming together to form the joint, we have a synovial membrane, and inside the synovial membrane we have the synovial fluid. One who is suffering from arthritis, you will notice that the upper and the lower bone forming the joint rub one another, and this one will cause pain. So there are some people, when they are moving, they feel some pain. The lower bone and the upper bone rub one another, causing pain. So what could bring this complication? You realize that someone who is affected by osteoarthritis, the bones are rubbing one another, and then you also have one may also be suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, when now the synovial membrane is inflamed or they are swollen. We are still continuing to look at this, and when the bones rub one another, then we'll hear pain. Another thing that we need to know, that it will swell, that inflammation. It will also turn red, and then when this bone erosion, the synovial fluid will percolate, or the will penetrate into the cracks formed, and therefore friction will be reduced, to mean there will be stiffness. So those who have stiff joints, painful joints, swollen joints, and joints that are red, then it is a clear indication that they have been affected by arthritis. Look at how arthritis deforms the joints. Yeah, that is not a normal finger. When you come across one with such fingers, then the person is having a complication in the joints. That is called osteoarthritis. So we're going to consider some three common types or forms of arthritis, and one of them is osteoarthritis. So let us begin with osteoarthritis, and this is what we need to note, that people with 50 years and above are most likely to be affected by osteoarthritis when they are experiencing degenerate joints, And when one is growing older, then the joint will be stiff and they will be experiencing some pain. I want us to look at what happens to the joints that will now result into joint pain and arthritis at the end. When we are now looking at osteoarthritis, let us look at evolution of osteoarthritis. The first joint there is a normal joint, and the labels will help us to identify different parts of the joint. So the first label labels to us the bone. We have the upper one and the lower one joined together by a synovial membrane, forming a joint. And inside the synovial membrane and between the lower and the upper bone, you realize that there is also a membrane formed at the end of every bone. At the end of every bone, there's some membrane formed, and that is called the cartilage. One who has been affected by osteoarthritis, you realize that the cartilages will be becoming thin and they will be eroded with time. And as they become eroded, they form cracks. And part 4 and part 5, the labels are clearly showing us that the cartilage has been damaged, and we see there are cartilage remnants and the destruction of the cartilage. So once cartilage has been affected, and we're going to also look at what are some of the things that will affect the joints that leads to corrosion of the cartilages and also depleting the synovial membrane and the synovial fluid. We continue. So this is what happens. We are told that osteoarthritis causes the cartilage to begin breaking down. And already we've identified the cartilage. You're also in a position to see the bone, the joint capsule, the synovial fluid. So osteoarthritis causes the cartilage to begin breaking down, first making it thinner and then creating cracks in its surfaces. Once the cracks have been created, then gaps in the cartilage can expand until they reach the bone itself. Then what happens thereafter? The synovial fluid leaks into cracks which can form in the bone surface when this replacement cartilage wears away. This causes further damage and in some cases can lead to cysts in the bone or other deformities. Now look at the deformed joint. We are told that if osteoarthritis is not treated, damage can progress to the point where the bones in the joint become seriously and permanently deformed. And you realize that some have even been crippled because of osteoarthritis. So once you have noticed some signs like stiffness in the joints, some pain in the joints, and redness in the joint, then you need to seek for medication and how you can improve the lifestyle for you to be restored to health. A clear indication of a joint that has been affected by osteoarthritis. You see now the synovial membrane, the synovial fluid, which is now entering into the cracks formed within the damaged cartilage. And once they enter into the cracks, you realize that there will no lubrication in the joints. There will be stiffness, there will be pain felt, and even movement will be a problem. So where specifically do we find osteoarthritis? In which points, in which joints of the body? In the ankle, we can find osteoarthritis. We can be affected even at the wrist. So those are the places where you will have osteoarthritis. This is a hand that has been affected by osteoarthritis. So we just have to consider those pictures. Commonly affected regions are the spine, the hip bone, the knee, the foot, the hand. So those are the commonly affected areas. And whenever you feel any sign, then it should indicate to you that you are suffering. So what are some of the causes of osteoarthritis? One of the causes is excess weight. Excess weight will affect the spine, will affect the knee and the hip bone. So we first need to look at how we can cut weight. Other causes or other outlined causes that can also lead to osteoarthritis. We have looked at excess body weight. We also have sedentary lifestyle. We have food allergies. We have stress, fatigue, use of drugs, use of substances that contain mercury, and then we have sports that excessively taxes the joints. Then some can also be having injuries, excessive wear and tear, age, genetics, secondary to other diseases. So other diseases may also lead to osteoarthritis. As statistics shows that only 10% of backaches are caused by osteoarthritis or disc problems. About 80% are caused by overworked and underworked muscles. I'll allow me leave osteoarthritis at that point and look at the next form of arthritis, that is the gout. And gout is commonly known to be the disease of kings because of partaking of rich food, and they are in a state of inactivity. They are not involved in any exercise of any sort. They love sedentary lifestyle. Gout is another type of arthritis. From antiquity, this disease has been associated with the lifestyle of the rich. Too much rich food and too little activity. You can still see pictures in all history books of kings with a foot propped up on a footstool, protecting that painful big toe. In those days, the afflicted royal person was often sent to live and work with the peasants so that they could exercise. They could now engage the body in a serious activity to help. Now look at where we find gout arthritis. At the feet, we have bone erosions, urate crystals in our tophus, and then we also have synovium. So that is an area that is affected by gout. And majorly, gout will come to the toe when there is concentration of uric acid. So uric acid will flush the synovial fluid, and that one will affect the lubrication of the joints, causing some pain and stiffness. So we need to eradicate uric acid from the system because it is the leading cause of gout arthritis. Those who have been affected by gout arthritis, look at how the toe looks like. Swollen, the inflammation of the joints at the toes. That one is a clear indication of gout arthritis. Look at how it deforms even the arm. Another way, look at how it brings deformation. So we have a normal foot and a toe with gout arthritis. So it is swollen, kind of, and it is somehow deformed. So arthritis has really deformed many people, and so many people have been crippled because of arthritis. Just look at how it deforms the fingers and even the toe. And that is due to accumulation of uric acid in the joints. A swollen and inflamed joint due to masses of uric acid. And at times we even have uric acid crystals deposited. Such need to be eradicated, and we therefore need to look at our diet. What are some of the things that will lead to accumulation of uric acid in the joints? Those are the ones that we do away with. Allow me to look at another kind of arthritis called the rheumatoid arthritis. And rheumatoid arthritis, this type of arthritis is not caused by injury or wear and tear. It is as a result of autoimmune disease, when the immune system, which is the body's defense system, attacks cells in the body, misreading them as foreign invaders. In rheumatoid arthritis, what you also need to know is that the immune system attacks primarily the joints. Look at how it also brings deformation. That is in the wrist and also in the fingers. So wrist joint and finger joints are affected by rheumatoid arthritis. Look at how deformed it looks like. At large stage, the thumb is deformed. There is ulnar deviation. We have swan neck deformity of fingers. Yeah, and at times we may tend to think that some people were born cripples or with deformed ends where the ulnars deviated, but that shouldn't be the case at all, because these things are affecting us as we grow due to our lifestyle. There is stiffening, there is disfiguring, and at times some people will complain that they cannot even fold their hands or release them freely. Even folding would be a problem because of stiffness, and they will experience some pain. Beloved, we need to learn how we can do away with arthritis, the joint, the inflammation of the joints. Just look at how it deforms. The ulnar deviates, not only in the fingers only, but also in the toe. These are scaring pictures. And look at how it also affects the body. It kills some cells. And that's why we say that when we are dealing with rheumatoid arthritis, it is not caused by injury or wear and tear, but it is as a result of autoimmune disease, when the immune system, which is the body's defense, attacks cells in the body, misreading them as foreign invaders. So cells die. And look at the arm and even the body and even the hands and the belly. There is some redness. That is as a result of rheumatoid arthritis. So when we talk of arthritis, I believe when we touch on osteoarthritis, gout, and rheumatoid, you can now figure it out. A general skeletal of the body where we see rheumatoid arthritis usually affects joints symmetrically on both sides equally, may initially begin in a couple of joints only, and most frequently attacks the wrists, the hands, the elbows, shoulders, knees, and ankles. There's also some that result as a means or a way that people have inherited. It is genetical. Let us now look at, we have dealt with some causes. I want us to once again consider causes and how we can remedy arthritis. And I promise that it will not take long. So let us consider our diet. And as we look at our diet, what is going to restore health to us is when we consider principles in a healthful living. And we have the 8 doctors of health. The first one being nutrition. Ensure you have the right diet, and we eradicate anything that is harmful. That's why in the 8 doctors we are also called to be temperate. The judicious use of that which is good and discarding completely that which is harmful to the body. So if we correct our diet, we will be better off. And the best diet for restoration would be a vegetarian diet. When we are going to have our grains or the cereals, we also have our fruits, we have the nuts, and then we do away with the animal products that will also lead to even the accumulation of uric acid in the system. I believe we have looked at some causes of arthritis, and I would just want to take us now on how we can prevent and treat arthritis. The first thing that we need to note is the 8 doctors of health. And when we're dealing with the 8 doctors of health, we have nutrition and then exercise. Ensure you exercise well, and exercise will facilitate in joint flexibility, nutrient flow to the joints. It will also help you manage your weight and also to improve postural sway in older adults if they are suffering from arthritis. You can also be involved in exercise for it will keep you off from being too stiff, the joints being too stiff. It will also make the joints, the muscles around your joints so strong, and your bones and the cartilages will be healthy. So 30 minutes of moderate exercise a day, and then you divide them into 3 periods of 10 minutes each would be effective. You can also take some time to ride your bicycle, and this one will also help in the flexibility of the joints. You can also be stretching in this way. This one will strengthen the back and abdominal muscles when you stretch them. So exercise will be the key. We also have that exercise will correct muscle imbalance, it will improve sensory motor function, it will decrease disability from osteoarthritis, it will also prevent knee surgeries. It also preserves physical independence. Avoid high heel shoes over 1 inch. That is also not good. Excessive exercise will also injure the joints. It will also bring stress to the joints. If you do things, we need to be temperate. Even when doing exercise, we are to be temperate. We have looked at nutrition, but let me just reiterate this. Cancers on Diet and Food, page 388, says that cancers, tumors, and all inflammatory diseases are largely caused by meat eating. So discard meat eating. Any flesh, discard it. Do away with it and let it not appear on your tables. Some of allergic foods that also leads to arthritis: we have gluten, we have eggs, we have pork, milk. Those ones should be eradicated. Let me now look at some of the foods that can help us when we have inflamed joints. So when you have inflamed joints, one of the foods that you can use that will also help you to supply you with synovial fluid, we have sources of omega-3 fats such as flaxseed, walnuts, spinach, and soy. Those ones will be well for you. Other supplements that we can also use for our health will include natural cause-2 inhibitors like vitamin C, vitamin E, resveratrol. We have turmeric, garlic, ginger root, rosemary, and red grapes. So those ones we can use for our health. We can also use dark green vegetables. Why? They have chlorophyll, they have magnesium, calcium for strong bones, and magnesium for strong bones, and they also have abundant antioxidants. So a vegan diet will do well with us. Allow me finish with some remedial agencies, some natural remedies that we can use in case of arthritis. So mine was only to show us some basic concepts that we are to know with arthritis. Once we have known that arthritis is the inflammation of the joints, what are some of the leading causes of arthritis and signs and symptoms that someone is having arthritis? We also looked at some various forms or types of arthritis: osteoarthritis, gout arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis. So let us look at some of the remedial agencies that we can use to relieve us of pain and also to restore us to our health when we have either gout, rheumatoid, or even osteoarthritis. Some of the herbs that you can readily find and use: we have white willowback, boswellian, we have stinging nettles, we have licorice root, feverfew, capsicum ointment, burdock. So burdock here, you can either use burdock root, burdock leaves. We also have queen of meadow, So those ones will help us. And we also need not to forget hydrotherapy. So with hydrotherapy, it will help us, it will help relieve pain. Hydrotherapy, we can do hot foot bath, we can do contrast bath, you can do hot fermentation, you can do massage, and massage and hydrotherapies will help in improving blood circulation. So we can do hot and cold changes, that is contrast bath. We can all do hot packs, that can also be called fermentation. Eating compress, range of motion exercise, can do paraffin bath, and we can do massage. And ensure you also get vitamin D from the sun. That's why I had to begin with the 8 doctors of health. Other formulas that we can use, we have what is called calcium tea formula for restoring calcium that will strengthen your bones so that you have a strong joint and a flexible one with no stiffness, no pain, no inflammation. So in this we can use a formula made up of ostial grass, hot straw, comfrey leaves, and lobelia. Another formula, we can use cloves powder, albizia bark, moringa leaf powder, acacia, tylosema root powder, nettle, comfrey root powder, and avocado seed powder. So these ones you use to form a formula, and that formula will be good for you. I failed to give us a good oil for massage and some fluid that we can use for massage. So for massage and even for pain, we can use Mofazil capsules for pain. And then for massage, we can also use pain balm. We can also use cayenne for massage and other massage oils and remedies that you know. They will bring relief and they will also bring restoration. As we wind it up, are the key points that we need to know. Allow me to read some 2 powerful verses here even as we pray. In Proverbs chapter 16 verse 24, we are told, pleasant words are as an honeycomb. They are sweet to the soul and health to the bones. So talent in speech will also restore us. And therefore, anyone who comes across one with arthritis, even pleasant words, words of encouragement, words that will buoy the spirit of the patient, will be the best remedy for restoring the damaged bones and joints. Proverbs 17 verse 22 says, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. So we need to refrain from becoming hungry and being bitter each and every time. It makes the system to be acidic, and acid will always wear out our joints. May God help us even as we prepare to also do part 6 that will end this series. And above all things, may we trust upon our God so that He can bring healing, and He may also teach us obedience. May God bless us.